All right, everyone. Someone sent me a little news tip, tech news, yesterday on Facebook. Apparently, among younger users, we're talking, 18 to 29, essentially, the younger user demographic. Over 44% of that demographic, if they've had the Facebook app, they've deleted it. And Facebook at this point is really messaging and being an app for smartphone users. That's really Facebook. Most people no longer do it the way I would sign in, which is, I would log in on the laptop essentially and use the desktop version. Most people don't do that. They use Facebook on the go, sort of rapid fire. They can get their news updates, although they're now algorithmically manipulated. They can talk to their friends, although their conversations are probably sold to companies in China now. They can post things that are heavily censored. I wonder why Facebook could be having problems. Could it be that it's no longer entertaining because they don't allow anything? Look, Facebook over the last month has kicked off untold numbers of groups that are related to things that people, especially in the young demographic, are getting more excited about. Younger people, like when I was a kid. Were we excited about politics or something like that, or even really news for the most part? Nah, not really. That's boring stuff for old people, for old farts. Those people that are 25 or older, old people. It's very funny how you think when you're a little kid. Now, though, it's not like that. I mean, political commentary, it's like you'd think of Nick Fuentes. How old is he? Like, I don't even think, is he even old enough to drink? I don't think so. I think, isn't he 20, if I remember correctly, or 19? I would think of Progressive Voice. I think he's 18 or 19 or something. You're increasingly getting this happening. Like, the average age of political commentary on YouTube appears to be about 25 or 30. It's definitely not on the older end of the spectrum. No offense to those commentators that are on the older than that, but it appears to be skewed heavily towards the young. It is a sort of, Paul Joseph Watson's correct, it's like a countercultural sort of thing. Facebook has already had its heyday, and they've begun to crack down on exactly the sort of stuff that's getting people excited, that they're constantly talking about. Look, if you look at the news, it's like in the old days, not every bit of news was about politics 10 years ago. Now it's basically Trump, Clinton, the Democrats, the Republicans. It's like never-ending election cycle, too. The midterms began the second that Trump was elected. The next election begins the second the midterms are over at midnight tonight. That is, tomorrow the 2020 election begins. It's 2 fucking years of nonstop election politics and front page political news. Who's gonna run? Now that the midterms are over, let's analyze. For the next fucking month, we're gonna run daily stories showcasing the possible Democratic contenders. Then for the next month, we're going to speculate on whether Trump will get knocked aside by his own party and primaried. Then we're going to talk about, what if one of the older candidates keels over on a live debate stage? What will happen in the primaries? What about polling? How does it sync up with reality? How will we unskew it? It's going to be hilarious. It really is. It's highly frenetic. It's exciting. And Facebook doesn't want to be part of that. Facebook only wants the boring, lamestream politics. So Fox, can have a presence on their newsfeed. CNN can have a presence on their newsfeed. Real exciting stuff there, dude. I want to watch Joe and Mika. It's the most exciting shit I've ever seen. Oh my god, it's so great. No, it's watered down swill. It's bullshit. It's also not particularly informative. It's the same old propaganda people stopped watching cable to get away from that's now infiltrating sites like Facebook and becoming more and more prevalent there. Nobody wants to. I don't want fucking CNN updates. I don't give a fuck about Fox. I saw in the related channels, even on YouTube, Fox News is one of them. I actually sarcastically remarked to the YouTube Twitter account, the YouTube whatever it's called, the one for help, and you can talk to staff and stuff if the algorithm fucks up or something, or you have a tech issue of some sort, or there's a glitch you need to report. And I was sarcastically remarking that I felt that was below my caliber. Like, then there are other people that's like, I think, so like Sargon and Malnu and some of these others on there, and that's like, yeah, that's good. And then it's Fox News. Now, I'm not associated with Fox News. Fuck Fox. It's really funny. Facebook's even worse than any of the others, though. Like, Facebook is in competition with Twitter to see which platform can screw itself first. Both of them are shying away. They're making the same mistake, oddly enough, that VidMe made. Remember VidMe? It was going to be a YouTube alternative. It skyrocketed. It really took off there. What killed VidMe? ultimately, I don't believe at all for a second that it was fiscal reasons. If YouTube can remain solvent, BitChute's doing fine, it wasn't money issues, I think, considering the amount of money they raised and the innovation that they made, sort of crossing the site over with a Reddit-style commenting and sharing system, actually was fairly functional. I didn't like it as much, but a lot of people actually really liked it. VidMe's problem is that it wouldn't let things in politics and news trend on the site. It constantly harassed political users, like, you know, if they make a video, it's about politics, but it's also about tech. I pointed this out to them multiple times. They needed to stop doing this. I'm going to put it in tech, because it falls into both categories, but only one of those categories is going to allow my video to actually be showcased by VidMe. They constantly avoided being political, despite the fact that their site was only notable because hundreds of political commentators had stormed onto the site and dragged them up to be 10 times the size they were in the humdrum days before, when it was really some beauty tips, some gaming, and ASMR. That's really all it was, and they did innovate. They made a whole category for that, a whole category for creepy stuff. It was interesting. But they fucked themselves because they abused the same people that were making their site powerful. We were making their site much bigger. I was one of the top 10 users on there. I had several tens of thousands of people following me. It was similar to the numbers I get now on BitChute. But BitChute doesn't shy away from, you know, saying, hey, yeah, politically speaking, we support free speech. Yeah, we're basically an alt-tech firm. So it's a little bit different. Facebook is making the same mistake. By trying to shove all independent commentary aside, what are you doing? Do you not think that even those CNN and Fox viewers occasionally make their own independent commentary? They make comments, at the very least. They might post a video. They'll post links to sites that Facebook doesn't like InfoWars, ooh, spooky, or something like that. They might post one of my videos. I've had people report to me that sometimes my videos, you can't post them on Facebook. Like, you try to post them there and it's like, oh, we think this is spam, or some other stupid workaround bullshit to mask the fact that they really just don't like me and they don't like any other independent commentator that has more than a Y7 style delivery format. So, like, my R-rated sailor language, that's not a... They're moralists. They're fucking totally moralistic. They're like temperance church wives. You can't swear too much. Don't show any cleavage. Like, Zuckerberg has a big thing about breastfeeding, apparently, because he wasn't breastfed, because he was grown in an artificial womb and a robot would feed him milk, because he is he's like, you know, a cyborg or some crazy shit. He's in the uncanny valley, and I mean that literally. He looks like Data from Star Trek, and I'm starting to think that maybe he has similar difficulties in his emotional personality. The thing is, Zuckerberg has continuously managed his site into the ground. It's always been censored. It's getting worse. Like, you would think over time Zuckerberg would learn his lesson, like, hey, I get flack constantly when I sell user data, when there are privacy breaches, and when things get censored. Like when I kick, Americans for Trump off. So a page has like 2 million people, all of a sudden it disappears from the newsfeed, kind of causes a little bit of a ruckus. Instead, he just does it more and more and more, and it's like he's in a race with Twitter, which now is considering removing one of its main functions, which is the like function, in addition to kicking everybody off the site, losing 9 million users in the last quarter. They say it was bot purging. I don't think so. I think it was partially organic. Partially the result of them abusing their own user base by constantly banning people who don't deserve it. They're in a race to see who can die faster. My money's on Twitter, but Zuckerberg's not far behind. Facebook will continue to exist. What is it? It's a repository of user data that he can bundle and sell over and over. Very, very good strategy long-term economically. Congress should crack down and force that data to be entirely deleted. They should just dismantle Facebook entirely as a threat to national security. That's about all. Peace out.